Hi, we're back. It's the SIBS Wars Episode 6, Return of the HODOR.
Oh, jeez.
HODOR.
Yeah,
HODOR.
much.
Hodidor.
Oh, hody nody. No.
It's nacho cheese. It's
It's
nacho
nacho
cheese.
So it's
Welcome
so
back,
just-
welcome back, fair weather friends. This is
Yes.
SIBS Wars Episode 6. It's been quite some time since we've been here. Sorry, we've been preoccupied with our own lives. But we're here tonight to talk about the latest Game of Thrones episode, Episode 5, Hold
Yes.
the Door.
Hold. Or is it simply The Door? Is that
Was
the
it The
episode
Door?
name? I
Was
think
it
it's
The
just
Door?
The name of the episode is The Door.
Okay.
Door.
So do we want to just dive right into this ending, this whole sequence of events? Because Amy and I had a very interesting discussion at the end of the episode when we watched it on Monday, and
I wish I had watched it with you guys, because it's like, I sat here by myself, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? Who do I talk to?
I know that's why I had to text you and call you Sunday night. And Alex, it's so funny because I showed Alex a text that I sent you in all caps saying my brain is melting because Alex had like a very similar quote.
I had a brain meltdown. I'll admit it.
It was a bit. It was a bit of a
huge episode. I mean, not even just The Door, but it's this season has moved so fast. I'm so surprised in how much payoff we're getting so soon. You know, we're 5 episodes in, 5 left, but the payoff has just been like bam, 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 you know, for everything leading up to whatever the fuck's gonna happen. But
yeah, I totally agree with you. The last few seasons, there's been this long build-up to whatever the last 2 or 3 episodes have been. I think the only down episode the entire season was maybe episode 3. But otherwise, every episode is just click, 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 set up. Like, where are we going? Stuff. And payoff, and big payoffs. I mean, you know, we can pick up at the beginning. Pick up at the beginning of the episode, we're coming off of episode 4, and Khaleesi burning down Vast Dothraki and taking over the entire Dothraki Empire in one movement.
You will not
without her dragons.
You will not live. You will not serve.
You will die.
Metal line.
That scene shocked the shit out of me. Yeah, like I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting that at all.
And it's been since season 1 that we have not seen Khaleesi do anything with the fire and the dragons and that power that she has. Since she birthed the dragons and she was rebirthed out of the fire, we haven't seen anything since then. Totally. So it's like you almost forget, holy shit, she's this like powerful fucking woman, and it's like, oh yes. And she waited at like the perfect time. I love that she killed them all in one fell swoop. That was just like, that was so rad. She's
now the Khal. I mean, she runs the Khal now, and now she's got her army. She's got her army.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I'm just guessing because like we've talked about before, we're off the books at this point. I don't know where we're going, but. One of the things that was interesting this week is that they specifically talked about a time jump. So when we flip back to Meereen, and it's Varys and Tyrion are talking to Grey Worm and Missandra about that it's been 2 weeks.
Right.
So they don't really ever like talk about it. You have to try to figure out what's going on and how long things have taken between things. So that was really the first time you kind of heard
that
acknowledgement. It's been 2 weeks since that one point kind of happened.
Right.
What's going to happen now that, you know, so Tyrion's established this tentative peace between the 3 cities, but now, you know, Khaleesi's got her army. She's going to be marching back to Meereen.
And I don't think that she's going to be happy with Tyrion at all. I think that
she left.
She did leave him in charge, but I don't think she expected him to try and broker a peace with the slaveholders that would lead to slavery being around in any way, shape, or form. I think that she still feels as Melisandre Grey Worm feel about slavery because she's had to experience slavery of some kind. Well, I don't know about Varys, but certainly Tyrion's experience with slavery was very small, as Melisandre and Grey Worm pointed out in the last episode or the episode before that.
Well, okay, so now we've got a new red woman to deal with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another red priestess.
And I'm pretty sure there's another one coming. I had read that they hired 2 actresses to play 2 different red priestesses. Yeah, this season. So this isn't the only one.
And I would have to say that's the first time this is season 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have to say this is the first time in 6 seasons where the look on Varys' face was one of concern and bewilderment.
Yeah,
someone finally has something on Varys.
Yeah.
Or what that voice was, who that voice was and what the voice said to him.
Well, he was thinking, how the fuck did she know that?
Yeah, but what she the line that was most important was, you think you know and you don't know any. It's like you don't know what's really going on.
Mm-hmm. I think they're still unaware also of, and I think that the red, whatever we're calling those, that
Lord of Light,
Lord of Light people, they are aware of the army of the undead, or in some way, shape, or form, because Melisandre's mentioned it. They're aware. They may not be aware of exactly what it is, but they're aware of some kind of threat of that regard. And I don't think that any of the Westerosi are, except for those at the Wall and maybe some people in the north. No one else in Westeros is aware, or Essos for that matter.
No, because they're all bitching and fighting with each other still.
Of the Night King and the army of the undead.
Because you have King Tommen, and no one's rallied behind King Tommen, so no one's addressing the real issues that are going on. You've got the Sparrows and the Lannisters fighting in King's Landing.
It's supposedly going to come to a head according to next week's preview.
Who the hell knows what's going on down in Dorne, right? We know what's going on in Pike, which is really cool.
Kingsmoot!
The Iron Islands, yeah.
That when I read that stuff in the book, it's a little different but that's like hundreds and hundreds of pages long in the books, like that whole thing that happens on Pike. But again, there too, you see time pass because now Theon's all cleaned up. He cut his hair. He's wearing his armor again.
Right.
So he's back to being Theon Greyjoy.
They knew what was up.
However weak he is.
Yeah. They knew what was up. As soon as what happened, they booked.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They took the whole Navy with them. Like, we're out of here. Now the whole thing is, where are they going?
Well,
Winterfell.
Geography, I was going to say, geographically, where can they go? Because the only thing that I could think of was, the only thing I could think of, hold on, let me finish. The only thing that I could possibly think, when I was like, where the fuck are they going? The only thing that made sense to me is that he would try to go and somehow reconnect back with Sansa. And
I think they're heading north into the North Seas.
I think.
Well, where do I think they're going, Alex?
I think they're going to Essos. I think they're going to one of the free cities to try and hook up with Khaleesi before Euron can. Because think about it.
No.
That's not a bad. I mean,
well, hold on, because
they have nothing to offer her. They have nothing to offer her except
they have the Navy. They have the Navy that Euron.
Yeah, but she has the Dothraki now. She doesn't. She doesn't need that.
She still needs the ships.
She still needs. Because here's the thing. Hear me out on this. So Theon and Sansa have mended bridges of a sort. But the people of the North don't know what the fuck's been going on with Theon Greyjoy. They remember what he did at Winterfell. They're going to not fucking rally behind him in any way, shape, or form. So, and Yara must be aware of that. So why would they go to the north? Why would they go, even though they have Sansa, and maybe there's some way that he can get back in Jon's good graces, but, there are people in the north that still believe that he killed Bran and, I don't know about Rickon anymore because they found Rickon, but at the very least Bran.
Yeah, but if it all comes to light, it's going to come to light. Well, first of all, they know now that Sansa knows the truth, that he didn't kill Bran or Rickon.
Right.
So she knows that. It wouldn't probably take very much if they are, the North remembers. So if the North does decide to rally behind Sansa and Jon, it's not like it would take a ton of work for her to campaign for Theon, or at least convince the inner circle that the people from the Iron Islands, can be trusted. But they also need men, and they know that. So I don't know if they would look a gift horse in the mouth like that.
I don't know. Well, I'm interested to see how the whole River Run Tully situation fares out, because fuck Littlefinger. I don't like him. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
I wish Brienne cut him down. I don't trust him at all in any way, shape, or form.
No. It's funny because I've been, again, shout out to Emergency Awesome, which I know that you guys probably still have never watched or checked out any of the videos. But what this guy was talking about also, they did an interview with the actor that plays Littlefinger. And
Aidan Gillen.
It's funny, he was just in this playthrough of a video game that I was watching. He did some acting in it. Anyway. So he said in the interview that Littlefinger is truly remorseful for what he did to Sansa, and that he is trying to make it up to her. So now, whether the actor is saying that, it just, the guy from Emergency Awesome, because he fields questions from people, so he's not 100% sure about what to expect from Littlefinger, because it's more than once that he's brought up that quote with Littlefinger. But that was a really wonderful and intense scene between the two of them.
Yes, it absolutely.
That meeting was awesome. And then there's also, since we're on the topic of, and I knew this was going to happen, since we're on the topic of Littlefinger, there's also a theory out there that Littlefinger was the one that sent the first paper. It wasn't really Ramsay. No, it wasn't Ramsay that sent the one come and see to Jon, and that it was really Littlefinger. Hold on, that it was
How would he have known? How did Littlefinger know?
Because he sent it. How would he? Because he sent it directly where he already knew that she had escaped, and said, where else would she go? She's heading north. He always knew that if she got out, that she was going to go see Jon.
Right.
So the theory is, and if you look back at it, and they did a side by side, they really took time in both episodes where Sansa got the scrolls to make sure you look closely at the seals. They really took the time to put the camera on the seals for both of those scenes.
The first one was,
and the first one was
flayed
the
man.
seal. The flanged man.
No, the flayed man.
Whatever.
Right.
The flange is a...
The flanger man.
Right. Exactly. But I think what they were trying to do, supposedly, is show the comparison in color of the stamp.
The wax.
But the theory... The wax, yes, but just listen, let me get to the theory. The theory is that Littlefinger did it on purpose to incite the war, to get this war going, because it benefits him in the end, and he'll have the power.
Okay, I see what the theory is trying to present here, but I have a kink in the chain. How would Littlefinger know about Rickon?
Right.
How would
because he has information out the wazoo. Why do we ever doubt? How could he not know? Why would he not know? Maybe he could know about the Karstarks.
I think that Sansa escaping would be big news for people, even especially Littlefinger. He's no Varys, but you're right. He does have ways of finding things out. But I don't think that I don't know about him finding out about Rickon. The sequence of events, as it's presented to us, has him. I don't think there's any way Littlefinger could have found out about.
I'm just saying we don't know, like what Justin was saying, we don't know the timeline. And we don't know where Littlefinger has been and what he's been doing since he left Sansa and Sansa escaped, etc.
Well,
but where has Littlefinger been this whole time?
If we're to make an assumption, the Vale, right? That's where that's where he was when we last left him.
No, because we last left him. He delivered Sansa to.
Right. And
he delivered Sansa to Ramsay.
Right. So we have no idea where he is,
or where he's been.
And who he's been talking to, what seeds have been planted by him.
Right.
You can't underestimate him. So I'm just saying, it's all theoretical, but that's something that was out there.
Killed him in season 1.
I'm trying to find a good map of the world to share with you guys so you can see what I'm thinking, where Yara and Theon are going, because some things are not accessible.
Well, I know that Pike and Winterfell are not too far away. They've had relations with one another for some time. The whole rebellion part with Ned going and taking Theon, that wasn't, even though that was an expedition, I was under the impression that Pike was close to the north part of Westeros anyway.
Yeah, someone refresh my memory quickly. How did Theon become part of the Starks?
He was captured.
He was captured. He was like.
But he stayed with them the entire time.
Right.
Think of it being he was essentially a prisoner, but he was treated as a.
Like a step sibling, like a bastard.
Yeah.
Like Jon. But
right, so why didn't he ever leave? He wasn't prisoner the whole time.
Because
he wasn't allowed to leave.
He wasn't allowed to leave his whole life
for a long time, and then when Ned left to go be the Hand, Robb asked him to stay and help him rule, and then we all know what happened from there. So.
Right. Okay.
All right, hold on.
It was so far back.
Hold on, let me share this.
By the way, I think we'll get to us. Yes. So
okay, you see this?
Can you zoom it all?
I'm just going to put the camera on just you for now, Justin.
All right, so do you see me moving my arrow at all?
No.
No. Can you open it up now? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so this is Pike here.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And Winterfell is up here.
Okay.
Wait, point again.
Pike. Winterfell.
Okay.
Right, so they can go around that little peninsula there.
No, they can't. This is the north. This is the wall up here. They can't go around this way.
Yeah, but they're below it, aren't they? Aren't they below it?
The only way to get to Essos, which is over to the right, see where the arrow's pointing? They'd have to come down this way.
They'd have to go all the way around and shit.
I think that they're gonna come up here.
Yeah.
Hold on, and try to get to Winterfell.
Right. That's what I meant. The little peninsula. What's the little peninsula above the yellow shield?
That's called Cape Kraken. But over here is the neck, and this is the Barrowlands, and the Reach is
right
here.
And the fingers and all that stuff, right?
No, the fingers are over here on this side.
Right. They literally look like fingers.
Right. Here's the veil, right? My thing is, I don't think they're ever going to make it to River Run, because River Run is all the way here. So I don't. There's not enough time.
Yeah.
In 5 episodes for Jon to get down here and then back to fight this Winterfell.
Well, wait, why not? We've been talking about jumps in time passage before.
So they'd have to, but this is going to be a heavily guarded area now.
Right.
Between the Boltons, the Karstarks, the
Umbridge,
the Umbers, all those guys, so I think they're not going to make it down here. I think what they're hoping for is for the Blackfish to come up from behind and
bottleneck them.
That John will try to get whatever, because they said the North remembers, right? So whatever families are around here, plus the Wildings are so that's going to be their army from the North, and then they come up from the South and attack Winterfell from both sides.
That would be a good strategy if they could make it work and pull it off.
Right. So I'm going to unshare now.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I think, I mean, it's not like Theon has any other people, anybody besides Sansa. And, there's just no one. Where else would they go? And where would Yara think to go at this point, even?
I don't know.
And I think that she is going to. That was a big, brother-sister moment between the two of them when he said, "This is our queen." You saw that moment where she's finally like, "Okay, my brother's back," and even the episode before that when he says, "You should rule and let me help you." Right. So I think that they're really going to be working in tandem, and I have a feeling that she's going to trust him now. And if he says, "Let's get our asses over towards Winterfell where we can either help and have protection,"
Right.
So if they all get together, and then by the time, I don't know, how long is it going to take to make 1,000 ships? What's his plan going to be?
You're on Greyjoy? It's going to take a minute. It's going to take.
That's what I'm saying. Are we going to see that kind of time jump?
My gut tells me we're done with Pike for now. For this season.
We'll see him next season or
this season.
I think we're done with Pike for the season. Yara and Theon heading wherever, but to build a whole new navy, that's next season for him to come back to try anything.
Right.
Now, I wonder what his priority would be. Murder his niece and nephew, or to go find Khaleesi.
I think he's going to try and hook up with Daenerys.
He can't do either right now. He can't.
No, I know. I'm saying, I wonder when it finally comes to fruition, when he does, or this is not in the books, Justin. Did he create the Navy in the books? Is he back, or you don't remember still?
I don't recall. I know he. The line about him going to marry her, that was definitely what his plan was. But again, it's been so long since I read those books, because that's what's happening. The stuff that's going on Pike right now in season 6 is in book 2 or 3. I can't. It's all jumbled in my head. Yeah, it's all jumbled in my head now. So.
And not for nothing, that's why, especially for you, I highly recommend taking a look at Emergency Awesome, because he does a great job. He doesn't really go ahead or, spoil if you haven't read the books, but he does a really good job of, refreshing, and then also saying, okay, this timeline in the book is then, and they're obviously molding it into this for the show, and these characters are a conglomeration of these characters that are in the book, and then they're named different things, blah, blah, blah. So it's really helped me, understand things a lot better, and it's just really informative and super good to have a refresher in your brain. So I'll send you guys another one. They just did, this might be a good transition to start the HODOR talk, but he did an entire 14 minutes of Q&A and answering questions and talking about stuff about HODOR and the timeline and Bran's powers and all that happy horse shit.
Before we do that segue, because I want to end GOT with that, let's talk about Arya and Braavos real quick, because that's the only thing we haven't covered besides HODOR.
Right.
Amy and I were talking about the scene where she's talking to Jaqen after she's seen the play.
Right.
And he says to her, something along the lines of a girl must decide, or a girl has decided, or something like that.
She has two choices. She either does the job or she won't be here.
Okay, so
thank you.
And that's the thing.
That was my point. He says either way, a face will be added. Right. So if Alex didn't think he was threatening her, and I'm like, no, he's telling her if she doesn't kill this woman.
See, because I think that Arya has been doing a very good job of putting on, for lack of a better word, a face. And I think that I
think she was real close.
No, see, I think that she doesn't want, as much as she wants to be a member of the Men Without Faces or whatever, or serve the faceless god, I think that seeing the play and seeing how wrong people have it, she doesn't want to be anonymous. She wants people to know who the fuck she is. She is Arya motherfucking Stark, and she's going to kill anyone that stands in her way.
I'm totally with you. Up until her sitting there watching the play, I was like, okay, Arya is going down this path. She's going to be a man without a face. She's going to be an assassin. And I think watching that play snapped her back out of it. And she's going to... remember there was that scene in the trailer of her like running and jumping across a gap between buildings or something?
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to escape. I think she's not going to go through with it, and she's going to leave, and she's going to take what she knows, and she's going to try to either get to Marine or something and hook up with Tyrion and Khaleesi at some point. I don't think she's going to go through with the killing, because I think she snapped out of it and was like what Alex said, that I'm a Stark. I've got a mission to kill these fucking people. I've learned what I need to learn, and I'm on to my next thing.
See, I agree, but I think she's going to go through with the murder as like a sign. I think that she can do it, because up until this point, she can kill, and she's trained, but she hasn't followed through with something as sinister as this. And she's got to be a little cold-blooded and ruthless in order if she's going to get the vengeance that she so desperately wants. So I think that she will end up killing the actress, and then that will be the start of her escape. Once she kills that actress, she is gone, and wherever she goes from there, we might not see Arya for some time after that. But,
and I also found it very interesting because, well, first of all, obviously, what's the guy's name? Everybody sounds the same. Euron
Greyjoy?
No, sorry, the many-faced god guy that's with her.
Jaqen.
Right. So, I mean, obviously he's doing all of this to test her. He knew exactly what the play was about. He's pushing her buttons, and also, you know, it's Cersei is on her death list.
Oh yeah.
And who is she killing? The actress that plays Cersei.
Right. I know. I think she's still, but that's not going to count on her list.
I know it's not going to count, but you see what he's doing to her. He's doing all of this on her. He knew exactly what was going on.
And I think that it's working, and she is, because she's, you know, she didn't get rid of Needle.
So if she leaves,
where Needle is, and the waif knows this too, because the waif said straight up, you know, obviously she kicked her ass in hand-to-hand combat, and Arya wasn't expecting that. But at the same time, she said, "You're not ready." And I don't think that's because she's not a good fighter.
She said, "You'll never be one of us."
Never be one of us, right? I don't think that's because she's a bad fighter or because she can't follow through with the kill. I think that she understands that she doesn't want to give up being Arya Stark because of how important her family name is to her and what it represents to her story and her vengeance.
So if she does run, then the many-faced god and Jaqen, like, wouldn't he come after her? How can she escape such a powerful force, though? If he is, you know, that's what concerns me and makes me think, like, how is she going to hide where she knows all of this stuff? Where is she going to go? You can't hide from the many-faced god. Anybody could be anybody. How would she ever know who is behind the face if she...
Theoretically, She knows how to do it already. She's done
I know
it.
she knows how to do it, but can she tell when somebody is wearing a face? And then how would she protect herself?
Don't know.
I guess we'll find out in
Find
the
out.
episodes to come.
Oh,
on
the
that.
questions.
Yes.
Oh, the places
All right.
we will go.
So before we go down the deep dark HODOR path.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one more thing that I read as a possible rumor today.
Okay.
Remember the scene where Sansa is confronting Littlefinger?
Yes.
And Sansa is just letting him have it and saying, the things that he did to me a lady isn't supposed to talk about.
Right.
And that she goes, I can still feel it in my body as I'm standing here talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant?
That's the rumor. So she would be carrying a Bolton Stark child.
What I don't understand.
Didn't she already abort a baby?
No.
No.
Didn't something like that happen?
No.
What am I thinking of?
Because
Who did that?
when she was married to Joffrey, she was too young. Tyrion wouldn't have sex with her, and
but she finally had her period when she was at King's Landing.
She was in the Red Keep with Cersei.
Right. But I'm not sure what it means. I don't know what it would mean.
I was going to say, I wonder what that would mean.
I don't know either.
I mean, because...
It's an interesting rumor.
Who are the other relatives out there of Bolton's at this point? I'm assuming and hoping that Ramsay's going to get his, right? So
he's got to. He's become a caricature at this point. He's like I don't even like when he was first on and he was vicious because he was. It's become a joke in my. I don't like the character anymore. Him killing Yasha or Asha, whatever the heck the wildlings, Asha. Him killing her was just like. It felt. I don't know.
It was completely expected.
But it was just like, and then he's sitting there eating the apple with the same knife that he just stabbed in her throat. It's becoming a caricature of evil. Like, I don't believe, like, the episode where he killed his stepmother who had just had the baby with the dogs. That was vicious. But that whole scene, even when they took the hood off of Rick in the episode before, and he's like, "Welcome home," it's like it's become a caricature character. And I think it's time for him to go.
Okay, so let's say that does happen. We all hope it does happen, and I think we kind of assume it will happen. Mm-hmm. Then, if Sansa is somehow pregnant with a Bolton Stark, who else is in line for to run the Boltons what would happen to the Boltons after Ramsay dies?
I guess the Freys could have a claim.
But
the north?
But hold on, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about what would it mean for a Bolton heir if there's no Boltons?
I don't know. That would be in this theoretical theory. That would be the Bolton heir, Sansa's child.
But
I'm saying, like, an heir to what?
Heir get? Yeah,
an heir to nothing.
Right now the Bolton heir gets Winterfell and whatever the Boltons had in the north before Winterfell, but that belongs to the Starks, so maybe it all goes back.
We get Harrenhal. I think the Boltons have Harrenhal, which is the melted castle. But
isn't Harrenhal one of
I don't know. It was just an interesting thought. Someone posed that maybe the thing that she's feeling inside her is that she's pregnant.
All right.
They were saying there were other clues. The fact that she didn't want to eat any of the North's food. Maybe she's nauseous. It was just an idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know where it goes or what. It didn't go beyond
the first scene you see her, she's eating the soup, and she specifically says, "This is good soup."
Your mom is good soup.
So, I mean, I completely remember that. And then she takes the ale, and, the ale is shitty, and she spits it out. But she's eating the soup and
she is pregnant. That's a big no-no,
Yeah,
I know.
Not back then.
Yeah.
On this other planet.
Uh-huh. in the
How it was, how people were drinking in the 50s and smoking in the 50s while being pregnant.
Okay, it was a bad joke.
Okay.
Got it.
We get
All
it.
right,
We get
so
it.
let's go beyond the wall
Okay.
Let's go.
Here we
to
go.
the
So,
three-eyed raven.
Alex has a really big problem with this.
so
what problem do you have with it?
So with I'm gonna read direct from Wikipedia here. So I know that's not the greatest source in the world.
No,
but this is what the synopsis of what happened says. So the Night's King, Bran has all the visions with everything. He jumps into what supposedly he thought was the three-eyed raven's vision, and he sees the Night King, and the Night King sees him, and he marks him. And they're all screwed because now the Night King can get into the cave, right?
Right.
The Night King enters the cave. Bran and the three-eyed raven have their little action. Am I ready? No, you're not. Instant warg, showing Bran the scene where Ned is going off to River Run to
the Vale.
To the Vale to court Catelyn Arryn, to eventually become his wife, and everything that his father is saying to him, or Bran's grandfather, etc.
Right.
And while all this is going on, the Night King is coming in, the Children of the Forest are trying to fight him back, comes in, kills the three-eyed raven, connection with the three-eyed raven is gone. But before that, we get the whole...
Before that, the Hodor thing happens.
Right. So Hodor is sitting in the cave, just pacing
he's just
back and forth.
He's rocking on Hodor.
Because he's afraid and he doesn't know what to do. And Mira yells, "Warg into Hodor," and Max von Sydow says, "You should listen to your friend." So Bran
he's hearing that Bran wargs into Hodor in the past.
But okay, so that's the thing. So the only way that Hodor becomes Hodor is that Bran has to be in his head at that exact moment in time. Otherwise, Willis doesn't hear Mira say, "Hold the door," and he doesn't have an epileptic warg seizure. And then
I don't understand why you have such a problem with this.
What's the problem with that?
That's such it's like the November 12th, 19. I'm sorry. To me, it's a cop out. It's not as bad as Hodor.
It's not a cop out.
It's not a cop out. It's a fucking
12th, 1950. I said this is the analogy I said to Amy. It's like a November 12th, 1955 moment from Back to the Future. Either that's a specific moment in time where all this shit is supposed to come together, or it could all be one big coincidence. And I just think that was lame to me.
Okay, you need first of all, I don't think, Alex, do you understand that Bran has powers beyond of where we've known at this point?
Yes, the whole, my father heard me kind of thing, and this isn't the first time that people have been able to hear or interact with Bran in these visions. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read this since you read Wikipedia. I specifically pulled up this article.
I didn't finish what I was reading, so it ended up being irrelevant. So there you go.
Well, because you have a whole... I just want to...
hold on, Amy. Let Alex finish reading his thing.
No, it was just that in the vision, Bran becomes overwhelmed by the split consciousness and unintentionally wargs into young Hodor, then named Willis, forging a connection between...
He did it on purpose!
Hold on. I don't think he did it on purpose.
Hold on.
Forging a connection between...
Alex is reading something. It's not Alex's statement.
Forging a connection between the past and the present, causing him to suffer a seizure. With Bran's consciousness inside his head, Willis hears the echoes of Mira's orders and begins to slur the words, "Hold the door," over and over again until they merge and Hodor is all that he can say.
Right. It's all that he can say, and it's all that he
From that moment on,
that's all his life is to protect Bran. He is with
Meaning-
I don't
even
think he
before-
knows that. I don't
Yes,
think even
he does.
after that, because who is Bran? Who the fuck is Bran? Bran does not exist in Hodor's world until Ned Stark comes back from the Vale with Catelyn and runs Winterfell and has sex and has kids.
Hold on.
Alex, you're jumping all over the place.
No, he's not. Hold on. I see what he's saying, but
In my mind.
I'm going to correct him in a second.
Okay, thank you.
So what we don't know, the warging or green sighting, depending on which version of what you're calling it or whatever, right?
Okay.
When he does that in the past, when he wargs into Willis, right? We don't know what gets transferred, what happens when you're inside someone else's head, right? So for all we know, at the moment that the hold the door words are put into Willis's brain as the warg seizure happens, and he just keeps saying it and keeps saying it and keeps saying it. For all we know, that has been planted in his head now, that his life's mission, his destiny, is to hold the door. And the moment when we're in the cave and he's rocking back and forth going, Hodor, 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 is because he knows the moment is coming. He knows this is the time.
Amy said something similar to that, and
I said exactly that. He's lived his entire life knowing that was his goal. And he freaked out in the cave because he knew that he was going to die, and like any of us would.
I'm just saying that I have a hard time believing that.
Okay, so now may I read this?
I get that. And Amy got on me with the whole thing of suspending disbelief, and we've had people come back from the dead, and I totally get it. I'm just saying that was my reaction in the moment, and it still rings true. That in order for all of this to happen,
right?
The only way that young Willis becomes Hodor is that a kid who exists in the future is warging with his future self to his past self at the same time.
Alex, wait. Let me go for a second, Justin. Oh. He wargs into Hodor in the past.
Exactly.
He's not warging into Hodor at the tree.
He is in both. That is why Willis can hear what Mira is saying. He's in both the future and the past Willis. And
can I read this? Can I please read this?
Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you. Okay. So this was on geek.com and also like through Mashable. It's a whole article, but I thought this, they're talking about the time loop and everything. So I thought that this last piece of it, it goes on, and they even give you a diagram of time travel, which I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, so here. The simplest aspect of the whole sequence is the type of time travel being used to explain Hodor's speech. Since Hodor has always been Hodor, what we witnessed is called a consistent causal loop. As Sean Carroll, a theoretical physicist at Caltech, explained to Mashable. Once you allow time travel into your universe, rather than saying everything that happens has a source, you're asking that everything is consistent and that everything is actually information circling around in time without a source. In other words, there's no way of preventing this from happening to Hodor because the event did not cause another. They both happened and will always happen. This is not a paradox because it completes itself as always.
It's a loop. It closes the loop. It had to happen that way.
You couldn't, there would be no Hodor character if this didn't happen in the past. It just came full circle.
And according to the Weiss-Benoff discussion I read, that they had this discussion with Martin in a hotel room, and Martin put this to them, that this was the original plan for how Hodor became Hodor. That this was
I told Alex that because after HBO Now, I'm casting it,
we saw
they always give you little snippets with David and the other guy.
Benioff and Weiss.
Right, so that's exactly what I told Alex, that this was his fate also. But Alex still has that, he has a real problem accepting the time travel thing.
Now put in the context of what you just read, Amy, of the loop coming full circle. I can, and again, with it being a fantasy story in a universe that doesn't exist,
yes,
lots of physics can be completely different. Totally understand. We're talking about time travel, which is physically impossible. Anyways,
especially through mental telepathy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
no, astral projecting and astral travel is a real thing.
It's an astral projection.
Well, let's not get nuts, okay?
Please.
Astral projection is a real thing.
Okay,
Master Strange.
Okay, Master Splinter. Yes, let's go meditate.
Okay. Anyway.
I had a hard time because to me, and again, I don't care what has happened so far, nothing that either one of you has said or nothing that has been read is going to unconvince me that because he is in HODOR, in the cave. When he hears Mira say, "You should warg," and Max von Sydow says, "You should listen to your friend," and you see his eyes go white, and although Bran is not like full warging into HODOR like he did with Summer, rest in peace, and other various elements of that, because HODOR still has his faculties and can still move and can still be HODOR. Because Willis, we're accepting that Willis sees Bran. He's looking right at Bran before he goes into the seizure. So Willis sees Bran, and as soon as he makes eye contact with Willis, he inadvertently also wargs into young Willis at the same time.
It wasn't inadvertent. You keep saying that. Bran,
what reason other than making HODOR would Bran have intentionally warging into young Willis?
Listen, Alex, what you're not, shush, zip it, like Dr. Evil. I got a bag of zip it for you.
Continue.
Bran, the only way Bran can warg into HODOR at that moment in time, where Bran is to use young Willis. He's not
true. He wargs
Alex, he's not in any position of his physical self in his mind or his body or anything in the tree, in the cave, to warg into HODOR there.
That's not true.
Alex, you're wrong. He does not. That is why Willis has the seizure. I don't understand what you're not understanding.
How do you account for HODOR's eyes going cloudy before he gets up and does something?
Because Bran wargs into young Willis. Yes, you're just wrong. It's just a fact.
Yes, Justin, you keep putting the time outside.
Well, because you're yelling and shouting over each other.
This is SIBS Wars.
This is SIBS Wars.
Yes.
What we should all do is go back and watch that segment sequence again.
I agree.
Okay. I will do it tonight. I will be doing it tonight.
Okay. We could do it right now.
No.
We can't because you can't hear sound.
Right, exactly.
Well, Justin, that's what, okay. To me, it's not a question of, a theoretical what happened. It's them telling you what happened. Right. And you keep saying, no, that's not what happened. And they're saying, that's what happened. And then you argue.
Aside from your ridiculous argument back and forth here, it was one of the best sequences in the show this season or any other season.
Yes.
Running down that tunnel, trying to get to the door, trying to get to that firelight, having that last child of the forest, trying to help them, sacrificing herself to let them get to the door, and for Mira and for them to get the door open, and for Mira and to be dragging Bran out into the snow, and God knows where.
Where they're going.
Yeah, where the hell are they going to go?
Yeah.
And HODOR pushing his body up against the door and just doing what he was intended to do his entire life.
Right.
Was to hold the door.
Hold that door.
To protect Bran.
Right.
One of the things I read is that this opens up the idea that Bran is way more powerful than anyone ever knew. more powerful than the three-eyed raven. I read a whole story, a whole synopsis of who the three-eyed raven is and how old he is and how powerful he was, and that they're saying that this opens the door to Bran being one of the most powerful creatures and beings in the entire of Westeros and Essos combined.
Right. I think the three-eyed raven had a little bit of an inkling of that too.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why he called him, other than everything that befell the Stark family.
Right, and it's also very interesting, like when doing, my research on the Hodor thing, and of, finding out more about green seeing, and then also like how the White Walkers were made and everything like that. They all share the same magic, and that's why the king is able to see and know that Bran is there, because he can green see also. All that magic.
Who was that? Who can green see?
The White Walker
The
King.
Night King.
The Night King. That touches,
King.
yeah. Because all of that power comes from... All of that power comes from the same place. So they're all connected in a way, in a very serious way. That's one of the reasons why that the Night King knows that Bran is there. And then him touching him marking him, will allow again, this is Emergency Awesome now, will allow him to track Bran wherever he goes. Now,
I think that
it's iffy about whether or not he'll be able to break through other magic that might protect Bran at some point, but he can track Bran everywhere now.
Yeah, no, that mark and that whole sequence is a not good thing for that's going to have repercussions.
Oh, yeah.
And now we also know that Bran does not need the tree in order to green see.
Well,
how about the fact that the children of the forest, the ones who created the White Walkers?
Yeah, well, to defend
Against
themselves from the men.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to right the wrong now.
That was fucked up.
Yeah. All right, that's episode 5.
That was great.
I can't believe we're halfway through the season.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Crazy.
All right, do we want to move on to your thing, Justin, or should we go to the war?
Let's go to the war.
Okay.
So we're already at over almost an hour.
I know. I knew, and this is what happens. We get started on Game of Thrones. Could you imagine if we tried to cover all 3 episodes?
I don't think the war is going to be super, super long. So I think we're okay. Yeah.
All right. So just to recap, the war's last selection was Alex's war selection, and I'll throw it over to Alex.
Yes. So I asked my siblings to name. Since we wanted to keep it not short and sweet, but we didn't want to put any convolution behind it, their favorite high school movie. And it could be from any era, if you want to go, what some might consider the classic high school movie from the 80s or maybe even earlier, moving into the 90s and movies like Clueless and something maybe modern that they particularly enjoyed. And I just wanted to see what each sibling had to say as far as that. I have some inklings and some ideas of what might be put forward by the two of you. Would either one of you like to begin this?
Do you think Alex should go first since it's yours, or you want to go last?
I can go first. I can go last. It doesn't particularly matter to me.
Justin, you're the showrunner. You decide.
Alex, go last. Amy, go first.
Okay.
Mine is going to be short and sweet. It's funny, when this was first brought up and I started to think about it, and then I'm like, what am I even thinking about? There is only one answer.
What is this?
For me, it was painfully obvious. The movie came up in my head the second you said it, and I was like, well, there you go. But then I was like, well, maybe that's too easy, and then let me think about it. And I'm like, what the fuck am I thinking about? Because I'm completely right. The best high school movie ever made, and the one to hold up all other high school movies to its standard, is The Breakfast Club. Yeah, I don't know how you can argue with me. I don't know what war there is to be had about it. Breakfast Club is the quintessential high school. It runs the gamut of someone from the 70s could watch it, even though it was in the 80s, and people in the 80s, 90s, up till now can watch it and still relate to everything that happens. You know, we are all a princess and a thief and a nerd and a jock.
And a basket case.
And a basket case. You know, so it is, to me, the movie, John Hughes aside, which we all know he makes the most incredible teenage angst movies, period. But that's it. I gave up thinking about it, and for me,
so
it's hands down.
I want to ask a question.
Go for it.
I don't think, and I will agree with you, when we're talking about the quintessential high school movie, I think The Breakfast Club is there. Is that your favorite high school movie? Is that even your favorite John Hughes movie?
Oh, that's like asking me to. We can have a SIB Wars just on what your favorite or best John. Hold on, we can have that John Hughes movie, because that would, you know, be a real war. Maybe that's something to pick in the future. I think I'll write that down.
Yeah.
But yes, if you said to me you can only watch one movie for the rest of your life based in high school, I would pick Breakfast Club over and over again.
Okay,
because also it's something that you can put on and listen to like it's music. The soundtrack is incredible. You know the lines word for word. And yes, so for me it is all of the above, and that's my answer. Because again, like what you're saying, Alex, I started asking myself all these questions, and I'm like, what am I doing? It's the Breakfast Club.
And it's fair, and I totally understand that. But, you know, quintessential or the best does not always denote a personal favorite. So I would just...
I got you.
Well, but the question was, what was your favorite high school movie?
And if that's what it is, then I accept. Totally true.
Yeah, I mean, I can spout off like my second, third, fourth, you know, I can make a list. That's why
you want to do right, and that was the whole thing.
Right, and that's why when you came up with it,
I wanted to avoid list making.
Right, exactly. So I just wrote down best John Hughes movie. That's a good war. Might be my next one.
So mine, I'm sure, is going to be fairly obvious if you really think hard about it.
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes! Go, Amy!
That was at the tip of my tongue as well.
For me, like, I mean, you know, Amy and I are only 3 years apart in age, but we're about, you know, 5 years apart school-wise? You know, so when Fast Times came out, I was probably in...
And not because I'm slow, because Justin's fast. I just want to put that out there. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not special. Justin's special in a hyper intellectual way.
Thank you. When that movie came out, I didn't see it in the theaters because it was, you know, rated R. But when I finally did see that movie, that's everything I wished high school had been. You know, just, you know, that movie is burned into my memory for, you know, not only Sean Penn, but, you know, Phoebe Cates is like...
Phoebe Cates coming out of the pool with those beautiful tits.
And
I mean, even as a woman, well, the kind of woman I am, I totally appreciate those breasts. She looks so hot.
I love Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
Everything about that movie is just, like Amy said, with the music from the John Hughes films, the music that's in Fast Times for me is even better. You know, because I grew up as a child of the 80s wishing I had been a child of the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, my musical tastes run more towards what was in Fast Times than what was in Breakfast Club. Don't get me wrong, I love the Breakfast Club. It's if I had to list, it's number 2 on my list. Because while I wanted high school to be like Fast Times, high school was
The Breakfast Club?
The Breakfast Club.
Okay.
I actually had a group of friends that we had study period, first period in the morning in high school, when we go to the library and we hang out and we just bullshit for a period. We called ourselves The Breakfast Club. You know, so like The Breakfast Club came out while I was in high school. So it was like, oh my God, that's us. You know, we know who all those people are. Like, I didn't really know the people from Fast Times. You know, I knew one or two people from Fast Times, but you know, there was a Spicoli in our school, definitely. You know, and we, you know, but just the music, the feel of that movie, and it's a Cameron Crowe, and I love Cameron Crowe movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be a whole nother war, you know.
Yep.
Favorite
Do
Cameron
you want to write that one down, Justin?
I'm writing it down. I'll put it on the list.
That one's Justin's, though. So you've already got one.
Without even, you know, when you put it out there, you know, 6 weeks ago or whatever the hell it was, I was like, Fast Times didn't even need to register beyond that. It was Fast Times done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Spicoli and the black kid driving in Forrest Whitaker's Trans Am, and they crash the car. And he goes, my brother's gonna shit. He's gonna kill us. And Spicoli goes, well, what is it, man?
He's gonna kill us.
Is he gonna shit first or is he gonna kill us?
He's gonna kill us.
And my dad's got this awesome set of tools. I can fix it.
I can fix it. Are you familiar with that movie at all, Alex, or just like?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's
maybe
mine.
I don't know why.
I don't know really how much of this is going to end up being a war because, you know, we're all just going to. I'm waiting to hear what Alex's is.
Yeah, so
I think that's when the war's going to ensue.
Okay, well, because yes, I'm sure I'll say something.
Because if it's American Pie, I'm going to jump through the fucking.
No, it is not American Pie. That movie, I was a little young when that movie came out for it to be.
Did you start fucking apple pies after you saw that? Like, that's what I haven't thought of
That's
before.
what I got to do. 11-year-old me was like, this is what I got to do.
One time at band camp, I stuck a bass up my ass.
Stuck a fork up my pussy.
Alex, did you hear Justin?
Yes, I stuck a bass up my ass.
That's funny.
So if you guys were to take a guess, do you think you'd have any clue with me?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, like, time-wise.
Not American Pie. So I will say my number 2 leading up to is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because to me that sort of epitomized like what the ultimate fuck you to high school would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I can watch that movie anytime, anywhere, and it's great. But I was surprised at the speed with which my selection came to me that I kind of had to go back and check, because you know thanks partially mostly to the two of you. I was introduced to that world of you know 80s high school movies, your John Hughes movies or whatever you want to call it, and going into the 90s as well. And there were some movies that kind of glorified this idea of what high school was or what high school should be, that kind of could transcend generational or time settings. And this one kind of does in a way too for my selection, but it was such a time and place for me with this movie that my selection was ranked number 37 on Entertainment Weekly's list of best high school movies.
Okay.
And could have been a selection for our first war. My selection is Friday Night Lights. And I know that I had a feeling that it was going to turn out that way, but hear me out.
I thought that was a TV series. I didn't even know that was a movie.
TV series. No,
it was a movie first.
And I think it's a great movie. And here's why. Hear me out.
Is that with Dawson from Dawson's Creek?
What? No, you're thinking of Varsity Blues.
That's Varsity Blues.
Okay.
All right. So
that's a better movie.
Clearly, maybe Justin has seen this movie. Amy's never seen this movie. No. So, first of all, the soundtrack to this movie ended up being a big influence. Number one, it introduced me to Public Enemy's "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back." I had never listened to that record before. I was really unfamiliar with it, and it plays a huge role in this movie. And first time that I heard Terminator X come through, when Boobie Miles is running up the field, I was like, this is Public Enemy? I thought at that point Public Enemy was just Flava Flav on a fucking reality show and one cool Anthrax track. That was all Public Enemy was to me up until that point. And I was like, oh, God. The second thing it did was introduce me to a band called Explosions in the Sky. And I don't know if either of you are familiar with Explosions in the Sky, but unbelievably great stuff that mainly came from the soundtrack from this movie. That was sort of their debut to the mainstream world, and it introduced me to them in a whole new way. The other thing is that it really glorifies what football means in the South, and I know that you guys, you know, I didn't have a very typical Southern high school experience going to a very small private school in Sarasota, Florida, which is, not even the most southern of places in Florida. But football was still a really big deal to a lot of kids in that school, and we didn't have a football team. We were too small for a football team. At that point in time when that movie came out, it was 2004. I was 8th grade going into 9th grade. It was right as high school was starting. It was this glorification of what football meant to people and what it can mean to people. And hearing Dad tell stories of when he was playing football, all I wanted to do at that point in time was I wanted to be on varsity football in high school when I was, 13, 14 years old, and I couldn't do that. And this movie glorified and set up everything that relationship is and was to those people. It's very similar in Florida as it is to Texas, where the movie takes place. Very similar. High school football, even in Sarasota, is very big down here. And I could feel that connection immediately, especially because at that point in time, I was hanging out with more kids in my neighborhood that didn't go to my small private school, that were going to these big 5A, 6A, high school championship winning schools. And that was all that they were talking about. And I was just like, this is a world that I wasn't familiar with. This movie introduced me to it. And then the other thing that I think is entirely unique about it in this particular, it's very kind of Bad News Bears in the way that they set this up. This big spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't seen the movie, but they go through all this trial and tribulation of this football season, and they get to the state championship, and they fall short. And it was one of the first instances that I saw in media where, because I hadn't seen Bad News Bears up until that point, that life sometimes doesn't hand you a winning hand. Life doesn't always mean that you get to win the state championship, but that doesn't mean that your life stops and life doesn't move on past that. That you can be a good person and you can be a good man in this context with a high school football team and not have won a state championship and not have been, an All-American first-round draft pick in the case of the character Boobie Miles, who very tragically, splits his ACL at the beginning of the movie. Yes, his nickname is Boobie. I forget what his actual name is, but the character's name is Boobie Miles.
That's how kids would make fun of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. They would call him Boobie Hill.
So
again, I just want to interject one thing. Both Justin and I have listened to you with both of us having basically the same look on our face of frown, brow, confusion, like.
No, I mean.
No, just like taking in like what I'm taking in
at that time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking in what you're saying, and then I'm like, how did of all high school movies, how like that one where you didn't play football and or even like unfortunately you played for a little while.
I did, and that was a big motivating factor, other than the obvious being that my father played football and I wanted to so verily impress him.
I'm just saying I'm surprised that I'm surprised a movie like that, as far as like high school stuff goes, had such like an impact on you. That of all high school movies was what you identified with the most, or what touched you the most.
And it was a strong thing that I didn't have, and then I got it. When going into my sophomore year, the very first football team that school ever had, I was on. And why
did you stop again? I don't remember why.
Concussion.
I had more than one concussion in a season, and Mom was like, "You're done."
Now he's a drummer. So
yeah, exactly. Thanks, Justin. Love you too. So it was just the timing of everything. I was, like I said, I was 13 when that movie came out. I had just moved to. I was slowly realizing that Sarasota wasn't the place where we vacationed in the 90s. Coming down from Jersey and spending all your time on St. Armands and Longboat Key was one thing. But when you're living out east of I-75, I know that this is all geographical and shit for our listeners who not hear. But it's it's more the South than St. Armands and Longboat Key will ever get. And even that's pretty southern. And it was a whole new world, and I was trying to deal with it. And
whole new world.
Kind of glorifies to romanticize it, but did it also with kind of like a gritty realness. And there was, things I related to. There was like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who really love and cherish that movie. I am not one of them. I was never a I never was the jock. Just wasn't me. And so by the time that movie came out, I was well gone.
Right.
To reality.
And I certainly would not put it as the quintessential high school movie. It definitely is not.
No, but it's your favorite movie. That was the whole point.
It is my favorite high school movie, and
while both Amy and I are quizzically listening to you wax poetic about this film.
Yes.
I find that we three of us, I think Amy and I are obviously closer, obviously in age and in perspective and time. That we picked movies that much more resonated with us from the era that we're from than I would never have chosen Friday Night Lights. I probably would never have chosen anything from the '90s or anything. Clueless, maybe I would put Clueless like number 3.
Clueless is up there.
Clueless was up there for me.
But
I don't know if I
is
go so far as to say top 5, but definitely top 10.
Clueless is a retelling of Taming of the Shrew. So it's
and it's so far out of because of the financial stuff and being in Beverly Hills and rich and all this stuff, it's really far removed of anything that like truly relatable. My other one was Pretty in Pink.
Sure.
Well, yeah, sure.
The next one on there would be 16 Candles.
With 16
Candles, like funny wise and stuff. But again, like Pretty in Pink has that.
Where is Say Anything on your list?
See, while Say Anything is a great movie, another Cameron Crowe film, but I don't particularly look at it as a high school film.
That's how it didn't even pop in my head as a high school film because they graduate
and going into college. Yeah.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like they graduate, you're never in the high school.
Never in the school.
Yeah, okay.
You're never dealing with get a quick synopsis of what high school was like who they were within the high school at the time, but
I mean,
so that one
party scene is very high school, without a doubt.
What is
the party scene? Give me my Firebird keys.
Yes, I have hid your keys.
I have hidden your keys. You must
chill.
All right, Justin. Well, it's your turn to pick our next war for next week. Are you prepared, or is this something you need to wait?
You want to ruminate on it?
I need to ruminate a little bit on the next subject.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, you will email us. Since, I'm just going to throw this out there as quick geek news because I thought it was very interesting, especially because you are both Xbox lovers, and now Aiden has an Xbox One, and I know Alex covets an Xbox One. So I figured I would just, spread things out a little bit, and quickly I just wanted to, because it's just happened today that 100% it's going to happen, and then also some rumors going around with Microsoft. So from Kotaku.com, so Microsoft will be releasing another version of Xbox One this year, and it will be a slim version of it, and it will have a 2 terabyte drive.
Yeah, I'm I just bought one.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it's totally streamlined, and but they did say that it will not have. So that's it about the slimmer version. But here it's all going to tie in. Then next year they're going to do yet another Xbox One for 2017. The code name right now is Scorpio. It'll have a more powerful GPU. It will support the Oculus Rift and 4K games, and that's so that they can compete with Sony VR. Unfortunately, I thought this was interesting that even though this new one's coming out, codenamed Scorpio, the data transfer, which a lot of people I watch on YouTube talk about, the data transfer will still be just as slow.
Okay.
And what this is all building up to is something called Project Helix. And it will, what Microsoft is trying to do is to unify Windows 10 and Xbox into one ecosystem.
That code name, and it could be from a fucking movie for all I know, Project Helix. That code name and that plan sounds familiar. I think that Microsoft has been trying to do that for some time.
About it for a while.
With very little success.
Right, but that's what well, they did it with, I forget, they did it with Metal Gear, a couple of games they did it with already this year, and what they're saying is that they're going to also tie in...
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
They did what? With Metal Gear?
The games are so what you can use your online stuff in Xbox One with two games, Metal Gear something, and I closed the article.
Metal Gear Solid 5, which is the newest version of that game.
Right, and so
if you have an online or PC of that game, you can stream that to the cloud, and you can access it via Xbox.
You can share. So now what they want to do that as a whole for everything. Of course, the next generation Halo games are supposed to be able to do that as well. Right. And all of this is supposed to be announced next month at E3. So
wow, I can't believe it's already E3 time.
I thought that was just a little interesting tidbit of information that was not about movies or anything else. No. That I just wanted to get out there because it'll be old news by the next time we get together.
Very true. Justin, do you want to touch on what we discussed?
No, it's a much deeper discussion. And,
yeah, it's getting late for everybody.
We're 5 to 11 here, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many geek news things that came out this week. It's too many to list. Unfortunately, we'd be on here for another hour if I started going
off on that.
So going in my head, especially on that other subject we talked about earlier.
And I think that's an interesting subject. I will jot that.
Discuss it at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to jot that down as well for next week.
We can discuss that.
I've already written down some bullets, so I would definitely like to discuss it.
All right, any quick hits, or are we done?
I think so.
All right, guys.
I think so. I also wrote down, so for other war ideas, I wrote down John Hughes movie, Cameron Crowe's movie. I also wrote down Disney.
Yes, we talked about that on the last episode. I would definitely be more than happy to tackle that.
Best Disney movies, yeah.
Well, I think that
Alex is his Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Don't do it now. Stop it.
It's not.
Speaking of which, anyone see the teaser trailer of the live-action Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Emma Watson.
How that garnered more views than Star Wars The Force Awakens trailers, I have no idea.
Well, dude, they have been raking in the money with these live-action remakes. Like it's,
I have not seen one of them.
I know you haven't, but lots of little girls all over the world have, and they have been over and over again.
Yeah, Mom saw Cinderella, and she really liked it. She thought it was very good.
I heard Cinderella was good. Everybody's raving about Jungle Book.
I want to see Jungle Book mainly because it's a Jon Favreau joint, and the technology looks amazing.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, you know, there's another. I don't know.
What I appreciated from the teaser was
come up with new shit.
I think that they are paying. I think it's nice that they're paying homage to the animated version. Like the
homage from that trailer, it looks like they're doing a shot-for-shot remake of it being live.
That's what I was about to say. I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't go.
It's Gus Van Sant doing Psycho.
I really
Psycho's a different. You can't.
From everything that I've read, they were able to avoid that with Cinderella, and they were able to avoid that with Snow White and the Huntsman is not going to beat 1937 Snow White, no matter what you try and do with it. But they've been able to avoid that paradox.
I'm sorry, that's what that looks like. And hearing Ian McKellen as Cogsworth and Ewan McGregor as Lumiere, it's the same freaking lines.
It's the same
from the
lines.
cartoon.
And the musical motif is exactly the same.
It's her walking in the door and going, the flower. It's the same fucking movie.
Well, again, it's a teaser trailer. Let's see, what they do. I can't compare anything to a Psycho remake because that's just film. That still pisses me off to this day.
Yes, as it should.
It makes me so angry still.
It's not for you. You're not the key demographic.
This is my demographic.
Yeah, right back at you, buddy.
That's your demographic.
Yeah, up your mom's demographic.
One time.
Can you hear this? Should I turn it up? See, all roads lead back to the Breakfast Club.
Do you like jazz, Evan? Let me play some
One time at band camp, I stuck a drumstick in my pee-pee hole.
Oh, God.
Are you happy that I didn't say American Pie, Justin? Are you proud of me that I didn't fall into that?
Yes.
I don't know. I almost would have rather you said American Pie. I would have understood.
You've never even seen the movie, Amy. How could you say?
I would have understood American Pie a lot more too.
Wow.
I would have been ashamed, but I would have understood it.
Now I'm just confused.
Okay, so even after my wax poetic, there's a lack of understanding. Okay, well,
No. We're just busting.
Okay.
We're just busting.
Busted, sure, yeah.
Busting makes it
I will.
good.
I mean, I think that it's. I think that. Yes.
Mr. Cotet. Did you see the revised trailer for Ghostbusters?
No, I haven't.
I haven't watched the second one. No, is it better?
It's still. Why are they making this movie?
Right. I still feel that way.
It's Ghostbusters with vaginas.
Exactly.
Like.
Why do we?
They couldn't get the cat. It's kind of like almost ties into like what we were talking about earlier, which we'll talk about next week. But like, why? Then why couldn't it be like all men? Why not go with the idea like it's their sons and daughters mixed? Like I just don't understand. I don't understand the premise enough yet of where this picked up from. Who are these broads?
Based on the trailer, it looks like they came up with it on their own. Doesn't unless they're going to tie it in somehow that they're not letting us on. But my opinion is, why make the fucking movie in the first place?
I feel that way about a lot of Hollywood right now.
I think we can dedicate an entire episode about the lack of creativity and risk taking in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
I'm more than happy to talk about that for an hour.
Because it's all about the money.
Yeah, but it's always been about the money, and yet they were still able to make creative shit back in the day. And I'm the fucking millennial here. I say begrudgingly.
But I mean, yes, they always rehash stories. I mean, we can go into this forever. But
yeah, let's not get too crazy.
Rehashing a story type, an archetype, is one thing, right? A Western is a Western is a Western. I mean,
a slasher is a slasher is a slasher.
And Star Wars is not science fiction. Star Wars is fantasy. I'll get shit for that, but it's true. That's a fantasy story, not science fiction.
You will get shit for that.
It's not science fiction. It's a fantasy.
What isn't?
It's not science
fiction.
Star
Wars is not science fiction.
No, it's fantasy.
Blade Runner is science fiction.
Fantasy.
Terminator is science fiction.
What is?
Terminator is science fiction.
Dune science fiction or fantasy?
What is?
Is Dune fantasy or science fiction?
Both.
Both.
I think it's more fantasy than science fiction.
But there's a lot. It's
I'm writing this stuff down too. Fantasy.
There's a lot of science in that book.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the book.
Yes. No. I know.
That should be my challenge. I thought we talked about challenges. Make Amy read Dune.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! How long is that book though?
It's not. I have a copy.
All right, give it to me. I'll read it.
It's shorter than any of the Game of Thrones books.
No, you know what? I think it was Taylor's copy. I have a copy of Dune Messiah. I'll see if Nope, I do. It's right here.
Right, so is that my first challenge?
Yeah, are you ever going to read Watchmen? Can I ever get that back?
Yeah, you don't need that back. That was sitting doing nothing until I'd
like to
ask
have
for
it because I've enjoyed reading it and would enjoy reading it again.
You will get it back. But so that's my first challenge is read Dune. All right.
Your first challenge should be to finish Watchmen.
No, because
Had that in
we
your
came
house
into
for how many years? Just saying.
some months. Okay, quick question on Ghost. So just because you saw the trailer, Justin, with Ghostbusters, are they pretending like the first Ghostbusters movie never happened? Is that what this is like? Like that all?
The first trailer acknowledged.
Yeah.
30 years ago, something happened, and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
This one does not open up with 30 years ago something happened. This one opens up with like weird fucking shit's happening in New York, and these people are here to solve what's going on. The graphics look fun. I mean, Slimer's in it, so that's a weird callback.
Yeah.
So it's just
I'm
I
sure
don't
you think you'll take
understand
Aiden?
this movie.
Do you think you'll take
I don't
Aiden?
think I'm gonna. No, I don't think I'm
Okay
going to
to
spend
see
my
it?
money on this film.
Right, and does would Aiden have any interest at all in seeing?
Oh,
Well, he likes regular Ghostbusters, yeah.
We've
Well,
watched
no,
the original.
not that he wouldn't have interest in Ghostbusters. Would he have an interest?
No. We have watched Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. And he loves those. He likes those movies. I wouldn't say loves. He likes those movies.
Okay, well,
It's not a trailer that I've even shown him to be like, hey, do you want to see this?
Do you have any opinion on this? Do you want to see this?
The last trailer I showed him was, hey, here's the Doctor Strange trailer.
I guess
Oh,
that's how
that
I feel
looks
about.
good.
Yeah,
This is
that looks
coming
good.
in November, so let's go see that. That's the next thing.
I guess it's how I feel about, because Amy asked me how I felt about, and I'm still wavering about the new Turtles movie. It's like, I don't know if I want to pay money to see that in a theater. I really don't. No,
and because, Justin, you said slasher, my last thing that I will say is, did everybody see that? I know that I'm the one that's more into it than anybody else because I love horror films, well, old horror films. The new ones aren't scary. But John Carpenter is back with Halloween.
What?
He's making a new Halloween movie.
All right, yet another franchise that can't die literally and figuratively.
Yeah, but it's, first of all, Rob Zombie did a pretty good job. And second of all, John Carpenter Halloween is some of the scariest shit. And if people don't know this, here's a little bit of trivia. In that first movie, there is not 1 ounce of blood in Halloween 1. There's never any blood. Kind of like Psycho, he took that from it. Everything is in your brain. You're seeing people get stabbed and you're thinking, holy shit, there's lots of blood. There's not a tiny little piece of red blood in that first Halloween movie.
I can appreciate Halloween and the original movies, and I can appreciate John Carpenter, but again, like our dear brother, I am stuck asking why.
Because these new generations of horror movies suck balls. They're not scary.
Sure,
they're all based on the same thing. They're stupid.
Because that's always worked.
If it's, I don't have a problem with this because it's John Carpenter.
Right.
He's the originator. If James Cameron were to come back and say, you know what, I'm going to make the right Terminator sequel that should have been made after 2, instead of these shit-ass movies that got made, I'd be fine with that. Instead, he's off making 900 Avatar films that we'll never see.
That will never see the light of day.
But then Amy,
I'm with you. It definitely has a little bit more. It definitely has more authenticity to it than any of the other rehash. Well, not any than most of the other rehash shit that we see and hear coming out of Hollywood daily. But I saw that headline, and the first thing that struck me was, we're here again with this. We're looking to the past to try and create something new again. It's
but Halloween never went away, though, Alex.
Yeah,
Halloween has never gone away
for a long time.
But like I was saying before, everything comes back around. We're just, unfortunately, we have grown up in a world where media is immediately accessible at any moment in time. So if you want to go back and watch the John Carpenter Halloween from 1980, you can, right? If you grew up in your mom's era, Alex, or Amy, our mom and dad's era, you got a movie and you never fucking saw it again. So the next time something similar to that came out, or if it was a remake of that. Like, okay, did you guys see the trailer for the remake of The Magnificent Seven?
No.
It looks really fucking good. Now, I love the original Magnificent Seven, but this version looks really cool. But the Magnificent Seven is a remake of an Akira Kurosawa film.
Seven Samurai.
Seven Samurai. So things repeat. If you ever really want to get deep into it, read Joseph Campbell, The Hero of a Thousand Faces.
Right.
We've been telling the same stories as a culture,
as a culture,
being for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. There's only so many stories.
Stories of unrequited love. Your stories of
Wizard of Oz and Star Wars.
The Conqueror falling in love with the Conquered type of
Wizard of Oz and Star Wars are the same movie.
Right.
You
Star
know?
Wars Episode 4 and Star Wars Episode 7 are the same movie.
Well, not exactly, but close.
Well, I was just very excited because I love the old movies. I even liked the 20th anniversary one that they did, Halloween 20, with Jamie Lee Curtis back in it and stuff. It would be very cool if she comes back as well. But I just thought it was very cool that John Carpenter is like, all right, fuck it. I think somebody out there was like, we need a good, scary movie again. And
well, Amy, you should check out, there's a trailer for a new movie called Clowned.
Clown? See, clowns don't scare me, and I don't understand people's fear of them. I will look. I've watched, I think I told you, Alex, like one night I watched like all the Paranormal Activity movies, and I just like went on this kick. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch. I watched Annabelle, I watched The Conjuring, I watched all the paranormal, and like I just had like a couple of nights of just like, I'm gonna watch. It was during Halloween, and it was one of the movie channels that was just showing all of the fucking horror movies that they could, and I spoke to Alex, and I was just like, I don't fucking get it. None of these movies scared me.
Yeah.
They were
Do jump scares scare you normally, Amy? Because that's all a lot of those modern horror movies are, is jump scares. That's it.
Look, I'm a human being. Jump scares are exactly meant to do that. Do I think that that's what makes or should make a good horror movie? No. Not at all.
Right.
Stuff like with like why I like Halloween so much is it's not like so much like in your face. We're gonna do everything that we can to put it in your face and to scare you, and that's our mission. It's like it's more subversive and it's dark and it's it's got twists and turns, and you're not like that's what I like. And other movies that scare me are things. Older movies are stuff with children. That stuff like.
Oh, then you'll love they're doing a Grudge meets Ring movie.
See, the first time
scare you.
As far as modern, the first Grudge movie scared the ever-loving shit out of me.
Have you seen
I could not get through it by myself. Huh?
Have you seen the respective Japanese versions of each movie?
Oh yes, yes.
Ringu and okay,
right.
Yeah, because that
both Grudge movies are. I mean, the Japanese and the first with Sarah Michelle Gellar are basically mirrors of each other. They're exactly
they're
the
very,
same.
very similar. I agree.
And I could not get through that by myself the first time I tried to watch it. I was like, I'm really fucking scared, and I'm going to change this, and it took me a while to get back to it. The Ring, I made it through, but The Ring also scared me. Those are two, and it's
you should check out the trailer, and I would love to hear your take on it.
Okay, what is it?
I forget what the movie's actually called, but it's a sequel of sorts for both, and it's The Ring meets The Grudge. I don't remember the official name. Hold on.
So I definitely thought that The Grudge was better. There were some things within The Ring that, again, it's that stuff where they're trying to force scare you.
I cannot understand a single thing you were saying, Amy. You just went all Matrixy on me.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up.
Neo. All right, wrap it up, showrunner.
Wrap it up.
It's called
all right, guys.
Sadako versus Kayako, Amy.
Is it being done in Japan? Only Japan?
No,
now?
No. I'm sorry. It's
Gojira versus Mecha Gojira.
Oh. Yes, Mecha Gojira. I'll send you the preview, Amy.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm trying to write it down, but I don't know.
All right.
All right. Until next time, Justin, think of a what
I
you
will
call
come
it
to
for
the
it.
war and email you guys later in the week.
Okie dokie.
Same SIBS channel, same SIBS time, which is
Absolutely.
whenever we get this together.
Whatever.
Good night, my SIBS.
Good night.
Good night, Sebs.
Ciao.